Short Stories. An Astrologer's Day by R.K. Narayan. Punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his professional equipment, which consisted of a dozen cowrie shells, a square piece of cloth with obscure mystic charts on it, a notebook, and a bundle of Palmyra writing. His forehead was resplendent with sacred ash and vermilion, and his eyes sparkled with a sharp, abnormal gleam, which was really an outcome of a continual searching look for customers, but which his simple clients took to be a prophetic light and felt comforted. The power of his eyes was considerably enhanced by their position, placed as they were between the painted forehead and the dark whiskers which streamed down his cheeks. Even half-wit's eyes would sparkle in such a setting. To crown the effect, he wound a saffron-colored turban around his head. This color scheme never failed. People were attracted to him as bees are attracted to cosmos or dahlia stalks. He sat under the boughs of a spreading tamarind tree, which flanked a path running through the town hall park. It was a remarkable place in many ways. A surging crowd was always moving up and down this narrow road morning till night. A variety of trades and occupations was represented all along its way. Medicine sellers, sellers of stolen hardware and junk, musicians, and above all, an auctioneer of cheap cloth, who created enough din all day to attract the whole town. Next to him in vociferousness came a vendor of fried groundnuts, who gave his ware a fancy name each day, calling it Bombay ice cream one day, and on the next day Delhi almond, and on the third day Raja's delicacy, and so on and so forth, and people flocked to him. A considerable portion of this crowd dallied before the astrologer too. The astrologer transacted his business by the light of a flare which crackled and smoked up above the groundnut heap nearby. Half the enchantment of the place was due to the fact that it did not have the benefit of municipal lighting. The place was lit up by shop lights. One or two had hissing gas lights. Some had naked flares stuck on poles. Some were lit up by old cycle lamps, and one or two, like the astrologers, managed without lights of their own. It was a bewildering crisscross of light rays and moving shadows. This suited the astrologer very well, for the simple reason that he had not in the least intended to be an astrologer when he began life, and he knew no more of what was going to happen to others than he knew what was going to happen to himself next minute. He was as much a stranger to the stars as were his innocent customers, yet he said things which pleased and astonished everyone. That was more a matter of study, practice, and shrewd guesswork. All the same, it was as much an honest man's labor as any other, and it deserved the wages he carried home at the end of the day. He had left his village without any previous thought or plan. If he had continued there, he would have carried on the work of his forefathers, namely tilling the land, living, marrying, and ripening in his cornfield and ancestral home. But that was not to be. He had to leave home without telling anyone, and he could not rest till he left it behind a couple of 100 miles. To a villager, it is a great deal, as if an ocean flowed between. He had a working analysis of mankind's troubles, marriage, money, and the tangles of human ties. Long practice had sharpened his perception. Within 5 minutes, he understood what was wrong. He charged 3 pies per question and never opened his mouth till the other had spoken for at least 10 minutes, which provided him enough stuff for a dozen answers and advices. When he told the person before him, gazing at his palm, "In many ways, you are not getting the fullest results of your efforts," 9 out of 10 were disposed to agree with him. Or he questioned, "Is there any woman in your family, maybe even a distant relative, who is not well disposed towards you?" Or he gave an analysis of character. "Most of your troubles are due to your nature. How can you be otherwise with Saturn where he is? You have an impetuous nature and a rough exterior. This endeared him to their hearts immediately, for even the mildest of us loves to think that he has a forbidding exterior. The nuts vendor blew out his flare and rose to go home. This was a signal for the astrologer to bundle up too, since it left him in darkness except for for a little shaft of green light which strayed in from somewhere and touched the ground before him. He picked up his cowrie shells and paraphernalia and was putting them back into his bag when the green shaft of light was blotted out. He looked up and saw a man standing before him. He sensed a possible client and said, "You look so careworn. It will do you good to sit down for a while and chat with me." The other grumbled some vague reply. The astrologer pressed his invitation, whereupon the other thrust his palm under his nose, saying, "You call yourself an astrologer?" The astrologer felt challenged and said, tilting the other's palm towards the green shaft of light, "Yours is a nature." "Oh, stop that," the other said. "Tell me something worthwhile." Our friend felt piqued. "I charge only 3 pice per question, and what you get ought to be good enough for your money." At this, the other withdrew his hand, his arm, took out an anna and flung it out to him, saying, "I have some questions to ask. If I prove you are bluffing, you must return that anna to me with interest. If you find my answers satisfactory, will you give me 5 rupees? No. Or will you give me 8 annas? All right, provided you give me twice as much if you are wrong," said the stranger. This pact was accepted. After a little further argument, the astrologer sent up a prayer to heaven as the other lit a chariot. The astrologer caught a glimpse of his face by the match light. There was a pause as cars hooted on the road. Zatka drivers sore at their horses, and the babble of the crowd agitated the semi darkness of the park. The other sat down, stucking his chariot, puffing out, sat there ruthlessly. The astrologer felt very uncomfortable. "Here, take your Anna back. I'm not used to such challenges. It is late for me today." He made preparations to bundle up. The other held his wrist and said, "You can't get out of it now. You dragged me in a while I was passing." The astrologer shivered in his grip, and his voice shook and became faint. "Leave me today. I shall speak to you tomorrow." The other thrust his palm in his face and said, "Challenge it, challenge. Go on." The astrologer proceeded with his throat drying up. "There is a woman." "Stop," said the other. "I don't want all that. Shall I succeed in my present search or not? Answer this and go. Otherwise, I will not let you go till you disgorge all your coins." The astrologer muttered a few incantations and replied, "All right, I'll speak. But will you give me a rupee if what I say is convincing? Otherwise, I'll not open my mouth, and you may do what you like." After a good deal of haggling, the other agreed. The astrologer said, "You are left for dead, am I right?" "Tell me more. A knife has passed through you once," said the astrologer. "Good fellow." He bare his chest to show the scar. "What else?" "And then you are pushed into a well nearby in the field. You are left for dead." "I should have been dead if some passerby had not chanced to peep into the well," exclaimed the other, overwhelmed by enthusiasm. "When shall I get at him?" he asked, clenching his fist. "In the next world," answered the astrologer. "He died 4 months ago in a far-off town. You'll never see any more of him." The other groaned on hearing it. The astrologer proceeded, "Guru Nayak." "You know my name," the other said, taken aback. "As I know all other things, Guru Nayak, listen carefully to what I have to say. Your village is 2 day journey due north of this town. Take the next train and be gone. I see once again great danger to your life if you go from home." He took out a pinch of sacred ash and held it out to him. "Rub it on your forehead and go home. Never travel southward again, and you live to be 100. "Why should I leave home again?" The other said reflectively. "I was only going away now and then to look for him and to choke out his life if I met him." He shook his head regretfully. "He has escaped my hands. I hope at least he died as he deserved." "Yes," said the astrologer. "He was crushed under a lorry." The other looked gratified to hear it. The place was deserted by the time the astrologer picked up his articles and put them into his bag. The green shaft was also gone. Leaving the place in darkness and silence, the stranger had gone off into the night after giving the astrologer a handful of coins. It was nearly midnight when the astrologer reached home. His wife was waiting for him at the door and demanded an explanation. He flung the coins at her and said, "Count them. One man gave all that." 12.5 annas, she said, counting. She was overjoyed. "I can buy some jaggery and coconut tomorrow. The child has been asking for sweets for so many days now. I'll prepare some rice. Nice stuff for her." "The swine had cheated me. He promised me a rupee," said the astrologer. She looked up at him. "You look worried. What is wrong?" "Nothing." After dinner, sitting on the pole, he told her, "Do you know, a great load is gone from me today? I thought I had the blood of a man on my hands all these years. That was the reason why I ran away from home, settled here and married you. He is alive." She gasped. "You tried to kill?" "Yes, in our village when I was silly youngster. We drank, gambled, and quarreled badly one day. Why think of it now? Time to sleep," he said, yawning, and he stretched himself on the pillow. This story was written by R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan, 1906 to 2001, was an Indian writer known for his works set in the fictional South Indian town of Malgudi. He was born in Madras, South India. He wrote many novels including Swami and Friends, The Bachelor of Arts, and The English Teacher, along with short stories and other works. He was among the best known and most widely read Indian novelists who wrote in English. He highlighted the social context and everyday life of his characters. Astrology is a form of fortune telling originated in ancient Babylonia. It has been practiced in many cultures, including ancient Rome, Greece, India, and China. An Astrologer's Day is a thriller suspense story describing a day in the life of an astrologer who makes his living by selling cosmic insights to gullible villagers, though he has no knowledge of the cosmos or actual spiritual insight.